Welcome to the Soul Infused Monday Show. Today, episode number 266 Three Ways to Conquer Your Monkey Mind for More Clarity, Focus, and Joy. If you are already watching it live or if you are on the replay, leave me a comment, say hello. I will get back to the comments throughout the show and I would love to see your name. I would love to hear if you see and hear me. I would love to hear where you're watching from. And I would simply love to know that you're here. So click the love and like button, share it with a friend, leave a comment, and engage with me throughout this particular show. And I'm going to give it a few moments for people to jump in. So that's your opportunity to leave a comment. And I'm going to check all comments in just a moment. I also have a hair in my mouth. I highly recommend for you to have a notebook and take notes. Or pen, whatever you want to take notes. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that you want to write down. I'm going to give you a lot of good stuff. And I'm going to jump in just a moment. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Tina. Hi, Kathy. And while I'm going to give it a few more seconds, I invite you to take a nice deep breath. And become fully present, remove any distractions, grab a glass of water, and grab something to take notes. So, welcome to the Soul Infused Monday Show. Today's episode, number 266, 3 ways to conquer your monkey mind for more clarity, focus, and joy. I'm going to share from an energetical perspective what I see the so-called monkey mind is. I actually tried to find out where the term monkey mind originated from. However, of course, there's a lot of information on the internet and there were several stories, but nothing that I found I felt was good enough or true enough or researched enough that I wanted to share it with you. The one thing that I kept seeing over and over, and that's how I remember hearing it the first time years ago, is that it apparently comes from Chinese back in the days, and it's a term that is used by Buddhists, and it just simply describes a restless, confused, disconnected, all over the place mind. That's all I can come up with. There are some other stories out there, but I did actually really want to find out because it's such a used term these days, and people, we just take it on and we don't even know where it's coming from. So I'm really curious if any of you knows the original starting point of the word of the monkey mind, let me know. I will give you my version of it and what I learned so far. I'm going to share with you 3 ways to deal and handle that restless mind when we are all over the place. And I don't know about you, but when I get into overthinking and I have too many thoughts and it feels like it can feel so overwhelming. It can be such a stressful experience, and leading even to the point that you get so overwhelmed and paralyzed that often we don't do anything even though we have so much going on. Does it resonate with you? From a visual, like I have a visual that I use in my training sometimes when I share the concept of the subpersonalities and the inner critic and all these voices inside of us, that it is like a bus full of monkeys and they're just all crazy up and down. One grabs the wheel, the other one grabs the wheel, and the consciousness is kind of like drugged up in the back and doesn't have much control of it. So when I think about the monkey mind, I see it as many moving, crazy, disorganized, scattered thoughts that have no direction, no clarity, and are simply confused and overwhelming. There's truth in it from an energetical perspective. From an energetical perspective, what the energy does when you are caught up in your mind is literally as if you have spaghetti threads all over, entangled. They're moving right, left, and center, up, down, right, and completely in chaos, out of control, and no one is really guiding or leading that. Now, I hope that by the end of the show, you are going to be the one that actually takes care of that mess or plate of spaghettis. And I'm going to give you 3 ways on how you can do that. So take notes. And when you hear something that resonates with you, maybe you want to even apply it right away or practice it. Because only knowing about it, just knowing it or thinking about it, it's not going to do the trick. You do have to apply it. You do get to do the work. And I know sometimes that's the most challenging piece, because even though I know so many people want to have a solution and want to have more calmness, more centeredness, more groundedness, more clarity, often they don't want to do the work. So I hope you're going to do the work. Let's jump in. So the first way, the first strategy or technique that I want to share with you is using the power of directing and guiding energy to a different place. And one of the most effective ways is to use your awareness and your breath. So let me explain. When the mind is out of control and does not have any direction or guidance, it just does whatever it wants to do, and it gets very scattered. When you use the power of awareness and directing energy, what you do is you focus on something else instead of getting caught up in the thoughts. It's follows the principle of energy follows attention. And you might have heard this before, but bear there with me, stay with me. I'm going to give you a few additional pointers here. If you don't give your mind direction, if you don't take control of it, it will control you. And there's no perfection, there's no 24/7, you are totally in control. However, the mind itself does not have the power. Only your awareness, your conscious being, your consciousness, your aware ego has the capacity to guide your mind. The mind is just a tool, a very valuable tool, by the way. The mind itself is incredible. Now, when it's out of control and it doesn't have a leader, it's just not gonna do what it's beneficial for you. It's not gonna have a clear direction. And then it's very hard to be focused, to be clear, and to enjoy, because often then we just get overwhelmed, we get anxiety and sleep bad and don't know what decisions to make, we feel lost and all of that. I'm sure you can relate. So because of the energy follows attention concept, what you want to do is with your awareness, but also with your breath, to guide direction, to guide the energy where you want it to go. Why this is so powerful has different reasons, but one of the main reasons is when you are caught up in your mind and in overthinking, you are generally not in flow and you are disconnected from the rest of your body, from your heart, from your center, from your core, and from your soul, so that your head is mainly active. Now, when you're disconnected from the rest of your system, from the rest of your body, that takes over, and it's very challenging to get into a grounded and centered and focused state. So by you using your awareness and your breath to guide it back into where you want to be, for example, back to your heart, back to your core, maybe even guiding your energy and direction and awareness into your base, into the bottom part of your body where you feel the groundedness and centeredness. What it also does, it brings you back into the present moment, into your body. It is very simple, and yet it is easier said than done because the mind keeps spinning. We call energetically, the mind keeps spinning. It's like in a hamster wheel, on and on and on. So for you to pause that hamster wheel and to turn it around in the beginning will take effort. It will take work. It will take persistency. It will take consistency. And there are ways to create that in your life so that it becomes easier to actually handle this restless mind. Okay, that is one way. Energy follows attention. So use the breath, use the awareness to direct and guide your energy to where you want it to be. And it can also be another thought. It's one way. Okay, there's more to it, but I'm going to continue so that we can kind of like combine certain techniques together. The second one is, we use that as a meditation technique that we call a naming. And the meditation technique called naming means that when you become an observer and you name, we use it often in terms of dealing with emotions. And I spoke about that in the past. So instead of judging it, trying to fight it, trying to get rid of it, trying to escape it, trying to numb it, you face it, you look at it, and you name it. As if you would observe clouds. One cloud comes, one cloud goes. You do that, the same thing with your thoughts, and you're naming the thoughts. By doing that, what it does is that you are taking control by you looking at it versus you just being a victim, like a headless chicken running around being consumed by so many thoughts. So that technique called naming, you can do that in different ways. You can do that just internally by watching your thoughts and naming them. For example, like if you would write down a to-do list, I'm thinking about last night, it was my dream. I'm thinking about my to-do list. I'm thinking about, I don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed. Like you simply watch your thoughts without judgment or anything, and you let them pass. Now, more effective than that is you write them down. And you can do that, for example, if you have a journaling practice, you can do that in your journal with the simple outcome of putting it out. It's like you're vomiting it out. Because why this is such a challenging process and why that gets so overwhelming sometimes is because it gets stuck in your head. All these thoughts, so you're already disconnected, it piles up, you're in this hamster wheel, and then they stay stuck in your head. And often we escape with them in some ways through addiction or distraction or procrastination. So you want to actually face it and put it out in the light. You're vomiting everything out like a brain dump. You can do that by writing it down. And another really great way to do it, you can write every thought in a Post-its and put it somewhere. Because then what you can do with that brain dump, with that vomiting it out, you can actually look at it, and then you can filter, organize it, and check what's really important. What are the things that are meaningful that I want to do, and what are just random thoughts that have nothing to do with anything that I want to do right now? And you can literally take those pieces of paper and organize them through importance and urgency. Does it make sense so far? Right? So number one is use the power of directing and guiding energy with your awareness and your breath. And number two is using this technique called naming to actually look at them versus running away from them, so that you take charge and you organize them so that you have then a priority and you can choose what you want to focus on. And the third one that I use a lot, and I have actually just a very recent example on when that happened to me. When I'm caught up in a restless mind, in the monkey mind, in overwhelm and total scatteredness, in general, it might not always be the case. These are just different ways of dealing with it and handling it. But in many, many cases, when that's happening, something is not in alignment. When we get totally overwhelmed and in our head and totally scattered, something in general is off, something that we are not aware of, that it may be creeped in, or we don't know what the root cause is. I give you an example. I'm offering this incredible and still that super in alignment, my 30-day meditation program, meditation channel that I challenge, that I wanted to start in April. And I've started to work my butt off for it. I had already put a lot of things in places. And I'm also writing a book currently. And right now it's like a very important phase. And I was so excited and so on fire. And I was working a lot more than I noticed. And I started to sleep badly. I was feeling overwhelmed. It was all a bit too much. And one day on my meditation cushion recently, I was really tuning in and I was like, what's going on? Something is off. Something is not in alignment, but I couldn't really see it because what I was doing was all good stuff, all valuable stuff that was also helping people. But what I found that was not in alignment was the timing. Not what I was doing, but the timing of it. So I chose then to push that program a little bit further back and not starting it in April. And as soon as I realized that and I made that decision, something in me just let go, as if I let go of a weight of my shoulders, and I was very clear and I was so much more relaxed. And yes, I get to communicate it. Yes, I might deal with disappointment from people, other things. However, everybody that already had signed up totally gracefully embraced it, and they're going to stay for a later point. My point in sharing this with you, sometimes we don't see it because it might create ripples, or it might be a challenging decision that involves other people. But checking in with you and see if there's something out of alignment can be a huge way to get out of that incredible overwhelm in your head. So I'm going to pause it here for a moment, and I have a really great another bonus tip for you today. But I want to check in with you. Out of the 3 ways so far, what's resonating with you? What is a takeaway that you're taking with you? Number 1 was using directing and guiding your energy with awareness and breath. Second was the naming of it versus you can do it internally or expressing it externally. That is way more powerful. And number 3 is checking in what is out of alignment. And the most powerful that I haven't even said as an individual part is actually meditation. And I've been talking about this forever. Energy-based meditation, a very particular type of meditation that helps you to direct energy and to restructure your energy. Because the best way to handle the monkey mind is to prevent it in the first place, by you having a control center solid within you, that you have, I call it the gatekeeper in your head that can discern, okay, this is a thought that is beneficial right now. This is not. What is going on? What's happening really in myself? Like, why am I thinking so much? What's maybe not in flow? And you check other places. How's my heart doing right now? How's my inner child feeling? Maybe my inner child right now is not feeling safe, is freaking out. And because I'm not paying attention and I'm not connected to it, so I'm not taking care of it, it goes up into my head trying to control the environment. Because the monkey mind, or a restless mind, an overthinking mind, often, not always, but often comes from a place of not feeling safe and trying to control the environment. And we get lost in it as soon as we lose awareness, because the mind itself doesn't have the power to guide itself. The mind just does what it does. It thinks, it does its job, but the real power is your awareness. The mind itself is just a tool. You have the power, not the other way around, but you can be feeling like a victim of your mind because you are not taking charge of it. And the mind is part of the energetics. And if you're not connected with the whole holistic part of your being, it's again like running around like a headless chicken. I'm going to take a moment in just a few minutes to see your comments. I would love for you to tune in and check what's resonating with you. What is a takeaway? What is something that you would be willing to practice and work towards? Because again, information, and I said that last week on Monday, you don't need more information. You can have more information, but information alone is not going to change anything. Information alone is just only knowing. You want to practice it. You want to do the deeper work. You want to take in the effort, because that's how you build the muscle. It's like building that muscle of clarity, centeredness, groundedness, and it's about doing it. That's why I'm super passionate, even though I'm not starting it yet in April. This program that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to teach you and help you do it for 30 days, because it's not about knowing it, it's about doing it. And it's so often that we know what to do, but we just don't do it. That's why we don't do it alone. We do it with help. So this is number 1, 2, and 3. I do want to give you one other tip. Maybe it works for you. It does work for me, especially if you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind is racing and you start worrying. And this in the middle of the night, it's even worse, in my experience. Because throughout the day, you can do other things. But sometimes when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're kind of like half asleep, but half awake. You're tossing and turning, and your mind is like out of control, and it's even worse. One thing that helps, I'm going to share in just a moment. So stay here. I'm going to go to the comments real quick. I'm going to share that last piece, and then I let you get out and practice on your beautiful mind to get it a little bit more grounded, centered, and calm. So here are a few takeaways. Checking to see if something isn't in alignment. That's such a great takeaway. And I don't think that people check that. There's a lot of things out there how to calm your mind, but that's often not even addressed. Super great takeaway. Thank you for sharing. Another one, also like the awareness that not feeling safe and trying to control environment can lead to monkey mind. Great takeaway. So true. Yeah. Another takeaway, to make posters and organize through importance, urgency, etc. Great takeaway. Another, thanks for another great Soul Infused Monday. My pleasure, Darlene. Such a good reminder to be aware of the things that may be keeping one's mind spinning and anxious. Yes, awareness is key. One last one, and then I'm going to share the last piece. Yes, I have been having trouble with timing, struggling between being mindful and being productive. Yes. So what I hear saying, the takeaway is to be aware of that. So to have kind of seen, okay, what is in alignment? That's what I hear you say. Great, great, great. Okay. So last tip, when you get up in the middle of the night, one other thing that happens when you are caught up in your restless thinking, and it's partly related to the number 1 that I shared, but your body is in tension, at least in certain places. So one thing that can be super powerful, especially at night, because you get anxious, instead of focusing on the thoughts or getting caught up about judging yourself, maybe, for having those thoughts and trying to get rid of it and trying so hard, instead of doing any of that, you take a deep breath and you scan your body and check where is the tension. Because the question is not, am I in tension? No, you are. The question is, where am I holding tension. I give you my last moment when I had that. I woke up, I felt all of that, what we shared. And then I use this technique sometimes, and I take a breath, I try to relax my body, and then I did a body scan. A body scan, I mean that you go inward, you put the flashlight into yourself, self-reflection, and you check your body for tension. The first thing I noticed is that my jaw was completely tense. As soon as I realized that and I relaxed my jaw, my whole body was way more relaxed. And then I continued, and that's what you do. You continue. Where do you have the tension? Maybe it's in your shoulder, neck. You take a breath, and you relax that area. And you keep going until you find a level of relaxation physically that often, not always, but often can lead to you falling back asleep, actually. Because a body in tension is also a body in anxiety, and an anxious mind creates also an anxious body. That's a really, really powerful technique. And you can do that also, obviously, throughout the day, and you can combine these techniques. Now, I want to emphasize that the best thing to do is to have these techniques in place regularly, even when you don't have a monkey mind. Because if you only would exercise once every 3 weeks or every 3 months when you have an itch, you wouldn't build any muscle. You want to do something consistently, and therefore I highly recommend to do meditation or another practice every day. And if you are interested, even though I'm not starting in April, to feel grounded, centered, and clear consistently, imagine yourself waking up in the morning and you have already what it takes and you know exactly what to do when you wake up and you feel all over the place and you feel empowered enough. And then you keep building the muscle, because what we're going to do together over those 30 days is to help you restructure your energy and to build that muscle so that you have it solid as a foundation deeply inside. So if you're interested, send me a message. I'm happy to put you on the list. And as soon as I'm launching, I will let you know. That was it for today. Take a nice deep breath. Practice anything that you just learned, because only knowing about it won't make a change. You applying it and you practicing it and you staying committed to it will change your life. It is a fact. What you do regularly will make a difference. You just get to do it. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Come back next Monday for a new episode of Soul Infused Monday, because that's a huge opportunity for you to shift your energy, to become more aware, and to take time for yourself to listen, learn, and grow. Much love.